Part 2 of the story of Job. The arrival of Job's friends. 3 of Job's friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, came to visit him. When they saw him from a distance, they barely recognized him. In grief, they wept, tore their robes, and sat with him in silence for 7 days. When Job finally spoke, he lamented his birth, wishing he had never been born. "Why is life given to those in misery?" he cried. His friends, instead of comforting him, argued that his suffering must be a punishment for sin. The Eliphaz claimed that Job must have done something wrong, for God does not punish the innocent. Bildad suggested that Job's children had died because of their own sins. Zophar was even harsher, saying Job probably deserved worse punishment. Job insisted on his innocence, but his friends only grew more accusatory. Elihu's speech and God's response. A fourth man, Elihu, rebuked both Job and his friends. He argued that God is just and may use suffering to teach and refine people. However, Job remained unconvinced, longing to speak directly with God. Then God himself spoke out of a whirlwind, questioning Job's understanding. "Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? Tell me if you understand." God described the vastness of creation, the depths of the sea, the storehouses of snow, the boundaries of light and darkness, the mighty creatures he had made. Job realized how small he was in comparison to God's wisdom and power. Job humbly repented, saying, "I spoke of things I did not understand, things too wonderful for me to know." Job's restoration. After rebuking Job's friends for their false accusations, God told them to offer sacrifices, and Job prayed for them. God then restored Job's fortunes, giving him twice as much as before: 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 donkeys. Job also had 10 more children, 7 sons and 3 daughters. His daughters were named Jemimah, Keziah, and Keren Happuch, and they were known as the most beautiful women in the land. Job lived 140 more years, seeing 4 generations of descendants before dying old and full of years. The meaning of Job's story. The story of Job explores deep questions of suffering, faith, and God's justice. It teaches that suffering is not always a punishment, and that God's wisdom is beyond human understanding. Job's faithfulness through trials is a powerful example of trusting God, even in the darkest times. Key themes and lessons. Faith in suffering. Job remained faithful despite immense suffering. God's sovereignty. Humans cannot always understand God's ways. The limits of human wisdom. Job's friends assumed suffering was always a result of sin. God's justice and mercy. Job was eventually restored, but on God's terms, not his own. Endurance and humility. Job learned to trust God even without answers. If this video blessed you, be sure to like, subscribe, and share with someone who needs this message.